For over 2,000 years, she has been more than a historical figure. She is a legend. Cleopatra VII, the last active pharaoh of ancient Egypt, a woman of brilliant intellect, political savvy, and a story so dramatic it has inspired poets, playwrights, and filmmakers for centuries. We know how her story ended, with the fall of Egypt to Rome and her tragic suicide. But one of the greatest mysteries of the ancient world remains unsolved. What happened to her body? Where is the final resting place of Cleopatra and her beloved Mark Antony? The search for the lost tomb of Cleopatra is the ultimate archaeological cold case. It's a quest that has consumed scholars and adventurers for generations, a puzzle with clues scattered across ancient texts, swallowed by earthquakes and submerged by the sea. This isn't just about finding bones, it's about touching the tangible reality of one of history's most iconic figures. So, where do we even begin to look? The answer takes us on a journey from the pages of ancient historians to the cutting-edge technology of modern underwater archaeology. Our best, and really only lead, comes from the writers who chronicled the final days of Cleopatra and Mark Antony. After their defeat at the Battle of Actium and the advance of Octavian's forces into Alexandria, Antony, believing a false report that Cleopatra was dead, fell upon his sword. Mortally wounded, he was brought to Cleopatra, who had barricaded herself inside her mausoleum. The ancient sources, like the Greek biographer Plutarch, tell us that Antony died in her arms. Then, a few days later, after Octavian had captured her, Cleopatra chose to end her own life, famously by the bite of an asp. But here is the crucial detail. Plutarch writes that Cleopatra had previously sent a message to Octavian, making one final request. She asked to be buried alongside Antony, and Octavian, despite being her conqueror, granted her wish. He gave orders for their bodies to be entombed together. This is the cornerstone of the entire search. We are not looking for a solitary grave. We are looking for a royal double tomb, a grand mausoleum built for two lovers whose story defined an era. This wasn't a hurried burial. Cleopatra had been constructing this mausoleum for some time before her death. It was described as a magnificent structure adjacent to a temple dedicated to the goddess Isis, whom Cleopatra identified with closely. So, the search is focused on the royal quarters of ancient Alexandria, specifically near the Temple of Isis. But that's easier said than found, because the Alexandria of Cleopatra's time is largely gone. To understand why finding Cleopatra's tomb is so difficult, we have to understand what happened to her city. Alexandria was a marvel of the ancient world, founded by Alexander the Great, home to the legendary library and the Lighthouse of Pharos, one of the Seven Wonders. The royal palace district, where Cleopatra lived and ruled, was situated on a peninsula stretching into the Mediterranean. Then, in the 4th and 8th centuries AD, a series of massive earthquakes and tsunamis struck the Egyptian coast. The land upon which the royal quarters stood simply collapsed into the sea. Entire neighborhoods, temples, and palaces slid into the abyss, shattered and buried under centuries of sediment. The modern city of Alexandria was built right on top of the ruins that remained on land. So, the very place we need to search is now divided between a bustling modern metropolis and the murky depths of the Mediterranean. This is why the hunt for Cleopatra's tomb has split into two main fronts: the land and the sea. For years, the most prominent search has been focused on a site about 30 miles west of Alexandria, the temple complex of Taposiris Magna. This theory has been championed by Dr. Kathleen Martinez, a Dominican archaeologist whose relentless pursuit has become a story in itself. Dr. Martinez's theory is a fascinating one. She argues that Cleopatra, in her final days, would not have wanted to be buried in a city about to be occupied by her Roman enemies. Instead, she might have chosen a remote, sacred site. Martinez believes Cleopatra saw herself not just as a pharaoh, but as the human incarnation of the goddess Isis. In Egyptian mythology, Isis worked tirelessly to reassemble the body of her murdered husband, Osiris. By being buried with Antony, Cleopatra would be reenacting this myth, becoming Isis to Antony's Osiris. Martinez identified Taposiris Magna as a likely spot because it housed a major temple dedicated to Osiris, and it was far enough from Alexandria to be safe from Roman desecration. The excavations at Taposiris Magna have been dramatic. They've uncovered a vast necropolis, revealing hundreds of tombs, many from the Ptolemaic period. They've found alabaster heads believed to depict Cleopatra and Mark Antony, coins with her image, and a network of tunnels deep beneath the temple, suggesting a possible royal burial route. Most intriguingly, radar scans have detected underground chambers that appear to be undisturbed. The hope is palpable. But despite over a decade of work, the definitive discovery, the tomb itself, has remained elusive. Many mainstream Egyptologists are skeptical, arguing that a pharaoh of Cleopatra's status would almost certainly have been interred in the royal capital, Alexandria, not a provincial town. The search at Taposiris Magna continues, but it has forced many to look back to the source, to the sunken city itself. While Taposiris Magna captures the imagination, the waters off the coast of Alexandria hold what many believe is the true prize. This is where the royal palaces literally sank. And here, another extraordinary archaeological mission has been unfolding, led by French underwater archaeologist Frank Goddio. For decades, Goddio and his team have been meticulously mapping and excavating the submerged ruins of the ancient city. What they have found is nothing short of breathtaking. They have uncovered the lost island of Antihodos, which was part of the royal port. They have found the ruins of Cleopatra's palace, including massive stone blocks, statues, and sphinxes. They've even discovered the remains of the Temple of Isis, the very temple Plutarch mentioned as being near her mausoleum. Walking through these ruins, even virtually, is like stepping back in time. You can see the foundations of the buildings where Cleopatra walked, where the dramatic final act of her life played out. The discovery of the Temple of Isis Marina, as it's known, is a game changer. It places us in the exact geographical context described by the ancient sources. If Cleopatra's tomb was built near this temple, and the temple is now underwater, then logic dictates the tomb should be nearby, buried under the seabed. But the underwater environment presents immense challenges. Visibility is poor, sediments constantly shift, and the ruins are fragile. It's a painstakingly slow process of using magnetometers, sonar, and careful digging by hand. Goddio's team has not yet found the tomb, but they have definitively proven that the heart of Cleopatra's world lies beneath the waves, waiting. The quest is alive today more than ever, fueled by new technologies and a renewed sense of urgency. The search is no longer just about shovels and scuba tanks. Ground-penetrating radar, GPR, can see deep into the earth at Taposiris Magna, revealing hidden voids without digging a single hole. Underwater, advanced sub-bottom profilers and 3D mapping software can create incredibly detailed models of the sunken city, allowing archaeologists to virtually reconstruct the landscape and identify promising anomalies. Recent years have seen a surge of interest. There are proposals for larger, more comprehensive surveys of the seabed around Alexandria. The Egyptian government is deeply invested, as the discovery of Cleopatra's tomb would be a cultural and historical event of incalculable magnitude. Every season brings new hope. A strange structure detected by sonar, a sealed chamber hinted at by radar. Each one could be the breakthrough. The collaboration between the land team at Taposiris Magna and the underwater team off Alexandria creates a powerful pincer movement on the mystery. They are closing in from both sides. This is the haunting possibility. The earthquakes were catastrophic. It's entirely possible that the tomb was utterly destroyed, its stones scattered and buried beyond recognition. The sea is a ruthless custodian. Perhaps the tomb was looted in antiquity, its treasures and occupants lost to the black market of the ancient world. The Romans, especially Octavian, had a motive to desecrate or hide the tomb to prevent it from becoming a symbol of resistance. So, where is the tomb of Cleopatra? Is it in the dusty tunnels of Taposiris Magna, waiting for one final breakthrough? Is it lying on the seabed of the Mediterranean, surrounded by the silent ruins of her palace, a monument to a love story and a kingdom lost to the sea? Or is it gone forever, a ghost that will forever haunt the imagination of history? The answer is still out there. The legend of Cleopatra is a siren's call that continues to draw explorers into the desert and divers into the deep. It's a reminder that some mysteries are so powerful they refuse to die. The lost tomb of the last pharaoh of Egypt is the ultimate prize, a secret the ancient world has kept for 2 millennia. And the search for it is a testament to our enduring fascination with a queen who, even in death, commands our attention. The final chapter of her story has yet to be written. Perhaps, just perhaps, the next clue is about to be found.